NC State's Wolfpack prepare for 2025, an interesting season in Raleigh. It's a team that was 6-7 last season, certainly looking for better results, and they got the optimism, and they've got some of the horses, too, to try to run this race. Welcome to our college kickoff. Sarah Holland and Todd Gibson join us. I'm Kevin Holden. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to break down some stuff here with this NC State team. There is plenty to break down. And Sarah, why don't we start with Dave Dorne, the head coach? It always starts with the head coach, but in his case, 13 years of experience has been a lot. He's been sort of an anchor for this program for a long time.
Yeah, plenty of long-term consistency, right? But with that, NC State also struggled last year. And I think there's a little bit of frustration maybe building, especially in the fan base. And they want to see maybe, again, a 9 or 10 win season out of this team. But is that going to be enough? I think, when you've had a coach that's been there for so long, if you have some sort of stagnant years, I think some more frustration can build up.
It's been a long time since they won 10 games in Raleigh, I can tell you that for sure. Yeah. But with Dave Dorne, the thing with him is he always seems to do better as a coach when there's not as much pressure on him. Last year, he had a lot of pressure on him. He brought in Grayson McCall. The quarterback was going to just lead him to great things. It didn't happen. He got hurt. They had to bring C.J. Bailey in as a true freshman to play. I think Dorne does much better when the expectations are a little bit lower. This year, the expectations are a little bit lower on this team. So we'll see how he does. But, last year, 6-7, that's still in the back of his head right now. And that's still with the Wolfpack fans. That was a tough year. To end your year 6-7 and to lose to a rival, East Carolina, in a bowl game. That's not the way you want to end your season. So a lot of optimism, though, this year. I think they're going to be pretty good, but there'll be some pressure on Dorne this year for sure.
It's essential because that offseason is nice to sort of get that team a reset button to get them going, that sort of thing. But again, Dorne, if anybody, can help lead them down that path because he's been around a long time and he's also been a big force in the community. This is Dave Dorne at the ACC Football Kickoff.
I'm not just a coach. I'm somebody that cares deeply about the university. I've shown that. And I've had one of my sons, Luke, graduated from NC State, So we look at this as our place. And I care deeply about what we do. No one hurts more than I do when we don't perform the way that I want us to. And so put a lot of time, blood, sweat, and energy into this place. We've built it the right way. I'm really excited about the group I have coming back and how hungry they are.
All right, so we know that the ACC is the Conference of Coaches, right? That's what they call it? Oh, wait. No, my notes tell me it's the Conference of Quarterbacks. And it turns out that NC State's got a pretty good quarterback. Sarah, here's the thing. C.J. Bailey's only a sophomore. For all the stuff he's been through last year, he's a sophomore.
Yeah, young kid, right? But had some pretty good performances last year. I think we got to see maybe what the ceiling could be for him in the future. And he is an exciting player to watch. I'm so excited to watch him take the field this year. And I just think that especially given what we saw out of him when, maybe it was too soon, too quick for him to start, and what he was able to make out of his true freshman year, having 1 year now of experience under his belt, I'm excited to see how he's improved and what he's going to be able to put on the field this year.
He got thrown into the fire last year. When McCall went down injured, he got thrown out there as a true freshman. Now, obviously, he has great talent. Coming in, we knew he has great talent. And the good thing about C.J. Bailey is, a coach once said, the best thing about a freshman is he becomes a sophomore. Okay, well, this sophomore has a lot of playing experience under his belt from last year. He's gained 30 pounds. He's 30 pounds heavier, and you can't tell it, though, because he's so tall, and you look at him and you're thinking, he gained 30 pounds? He gained 30 pounds, and you think, wow, he must have been really thin last year because he still looks kind of thin. But I think you'll see him this year commanding the offense a little bit more. He's got great wide receivers, and I think you might see him run the ball a little bit more this year. He ran it sometimes last year because he had to. This year he might tuck it away and run the ball a little bit more because he wants to gain some yards.
And they didn't praise me when I gained 30 pounds.
No.
I'll tell you that. C.J. Bailey talks about the difference from last year to this year.
Yeah, it's a big difference. Like last year, I just was sitting back and, letting Grayson, do his thing. And there's a lot of things I wanted to do last year, but I didn't want to step on Grayson's toes, out, like just be more a leader than what Grayson was, So I just observed, coming into this year, it's very different. So, in spring, it was very different. I used my voice more, as I said before. I was way more than what I was last year. And I think, what happened, not to any knock to Grayson, but I think that I got the chance to, experience, being a starter of the team.
Valuable experience there from Bailey. And the fact that all of that happened last year means that he can start fresh with it this year. Now, talking about starting fresh, Gibby, one of the things that is different for him in his sophomore year is he's learning under someone different. There are new coordinators, an offensive and defensive coordinator, specifically for Bailey, a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Kurt Roper takes over, but he's been with the team for several years as a quarterback's coach, a running back coach, and also a quarterback's coach again. So the offense for him, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot. I think it'll be a little bit different, but having learned under Roper as a quarterback coach that he was, and having that continuity coming into this season as well, I think that would be really good for Bailey, because that gives him he knows what to expect out of Kurt Roper, because Roper was his, like I said, his quarterback's coach. Now how the offense will change, I don't know, because they don't have the dynamics of Casey Concepcion this year that they had last year, but they do have great wide receivers. So I think that the offense will be maybe a little more run heavy this year. We'll see, which will be really good. Any quarterback likes a good running game. So if they can get the running game going, that could be really good for NC State.
And you got Hollywood Smothers to help with that. So that's certainly nice. And then, I mean, even looking at Kurt Roper and what I've done, some of my, some studying him, really, I mean, I think it's a testament to Dave Dorne, obviously seeing that Kurt Roper and the success that he's built with CJ Bailey, right? And like you kind of touched on it too, the confidence that he must have to be able to run his offense,
right,
because of how he's been able to, adapt CJ Bailey to this game. So I think that Kurt Roper is going to be able to play CJ Bailey in the best possible situations for him because of that relationship that they have together. So I'm excited to see how they sort of build on that this season.
The one note, though, NC State fans were really not too happy with the elevation of Roper to offensive coordinator. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. 2 or 3 games in this, the fans might be turning on him a little bit, but he's proven that he can do a good job through the years. But I think the NC State fans wanted to go a little higher up, a little marquee.
See a couple of 50 burgers early on.
Yeah, that would help quite.
But a couple of 10-pointers early
won't help at all.
In a major way. All right, so talking about these new coordinators, Dave Dorne is going to talk about DJ Elliott here and CJ Bailey about Roper, the new offensive coordinator for the Pack.
DJ, he's like me, been through lots, and through his different stops and learning, it's been fun because I've known him over 20 years, but never worked with him, just sitting down and talking football. And he's a great translator of the changes that we're making. He's coached in this exact system at another school, and so he knows the verbiage of it, but he also knows how to translate the verbiage of it into other things that we're doing.
Yeah, Coach Roper is, for one, he's a great guy, phenomenal guy. But he helped me, every day. Like every day I come in that room with him, in the meeting room, I gain some type of knowledge and some type of, understanding of the game better. And it's great that he's our offensive coordinator because he understands me and I understand him.
So when we begin on August 28th with this NC State football season, those coordinators aren't necessarily going to be new. It'll be their first game, but it won't necessarily be a new thing. They will have spent several months because those changes have been in place for quite a while. Now, we talk offense. We always do coach and quarterback, but I always want to try to highlight some of the things on the defensive side of the ball that could work for NC State because, look, QBs and coaches make good talk, but defense will win you a lot of games. And that could happen here for NC State. Give you one of the biggest reasons, linebackers, and it's not just 2025. This has been a tradition.
It really has been a tradition through the years, and to see it, Caden Forden is back this year after an injury. Sean Brown returns as well. 2 maybe not marquee type names, but through the years, man, they've had some great linebackers. Peyton Wilson, Drake Thomas, D'Antonio Burnett years ago, back in like 2002. He in the bowl game against Notre Dame, he had he made every tackle. It seemed like I can remember that game years ago. They've had great linebackers through the years. This year's linebacker crew, maybe not quite as marquee or thought of, but if Forden gets healthy, and I think he is, Sean Brown's coming out from safety to a linebacker. I think this is his second-year linebacker. They could do some pretty good things, but the linebackers might be the key to their defense this season.
And I think the only way for them to go is up, right? You think about how bad NC State's defense was last year, giving up over 30 points per game, I believe is what they averaged, and it was very uncharacteristic of them. And so for them to get back to a 9-win season, possibly if they can make it into that 10-win season, you got to have a good defense, right? That's where you got to go. And I think some pressure and some heat's going to be on for DJ Elliott early on.
Yeah.
Caden Fordham's going to address all of this here. Again, this goes back to ACC football kickoff. Caden Fordham at the podium addressing the audience in Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, anytime we go out on the field as NC State defense, we expect to dominate. We expect to play physical and tough, and I believe this offseason was big for us. Getting a lot of the new guys in here, kind of showing them the ways of how we do things here is huge for us. But as far as me coming back, Sean, some of the guys that have been there for a while, we got to see guys like Drake, Peyton, Zay, how they did things. And last year, you're right, it wasn't up to the standard, but this year is a new year, and we're going to come out and prove that we're back. We're going to uphold that standard and play ball on defense.
What's interesting to me about Fordham is he doesn't sound the way you'd expect a linebacker to sound, right? Like, I'm expecting him to attack that microphone. He's pretty chill, pretty laid back. So
as long as he attacks those running backs coming out,
you save the intensity for game day. I think that's a good thing. Back to the offensive side for just a moment, Sarah. CJ Bailey,
yep.
Hollywood Smothers, this whole offense would love to gel, but the one thing that could be the most important for them to gel on offense are the guys up front. The offensive line is absolutely crucial for this team.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the most important things, right? You hear NFL programs talk about this. If no one is talking about the offensive line, that's usually a good thing, right? You don't want the offensive line to be a big talking point because it usually means that they're not doing their job, right? They're not protecting the quarterback, but they definitely need to step up from last season, especially you still got a young quarterback, right? CJ Bailey, we know that he's maybe going to take that step up, right? You hope that he's going to take that step up, but at the end of the day, offensive line needs to protect him, especially too, you got some new pieces. You still have to gel. Like I mentioned, he's a young quarterback. So that's going to be one of the most important pieces. And I think we're going to see that early on.
The key to NC State's offense is the offensive line. You know what? This is the same way at Ohio State. It's the same way at Texas. It's the same way at Oregon. Every offense, their offense is predicated on how well the offensive line is going to do. It's the same way with NC State. They got some pretty good players up there. They brought in a center from Purdue. They've gotten a little bit older up there, but and I think this is an offensive line that's pretty good at run blocking. They got some good running backs. They want to take a little pressure off of CJ Bailey maybe a little bit this year and run the ball a little bit more. So I see the offense if they stay healthy, because I don't think they're really deep back there. So if they can stay healthy, get through the season health-wise, get the running game going to take pressure off CJ Bailey. That could be really, really good for this NC State offense.
They're important at every school, and they get almost no pub at any school, except here on the College Kickoff. The offensive line definitely gets some pub. Let's chat about that offensive line.
We have tons of weapons, and I feel like our offense is going to be very explosive this year. I don't know, as an offensive lineman, we care about numbers, but at the end of the day, as long as we do our job and as long as we're like the last ones appreciated, that's good. As long as we're not in the spotlight, it's usually a good day.
We got a great group of guys up front, and I spend a lot of time with them. We've had a couple dinners so far. I have fun with them, joke around with them a lot.
CJ Bailey and company ready for the 2025 season. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, a couple of things to talk about. Number one is the schedule and the number one game on the schedule, one that has been circled since last bowl season. College Kickoff NC State returns right after this. College Kickoff NC State Wolfpack edition. Welcome back. Sarah Holland, Todd Gibson, along with Kevin Holden here, talking NC State football. And we talked about all the different component parts of this NC State offense, CJ Bailey and the running game and those guys up front paving the way. But look, it's 2025, and Sarah, if you want success at this level, you do have to throw the ball, and someone has to catch it.
Yeah.
It can't just be CJ Bailey. Yeah. Receivers have got to step up.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a big test can they take that step forward this year, right? I look to guys like Noah Rogers, Justin Jolie to kind of be those go-to guys for CJ Bailey. And with watching some of the game film from last year, Noah Rogers, I think, has that potential go-to target. He kind of showed flashes of success last season. I'm excited to see what he can sort of build off of from last year. But they do have a talented receiving core that I think can set them up for success. As long as the O-line can do their job, which we touched on. I think it could be a fun offense and definitely maybe the best part of their team this season.
Yeah, it could be close to the best part of their team. Rogers, as you mentioned, he has a superstar talent. There's no question about it. Transfer from Ohio State, and then Wesley Grimes came in from Wake Forest as well. He's another guy that could really blossom this year. And the good thing about this receiving core is they've got a great tight end in Justin Jolie. And that's not all great college football teams have that tight end that they can throw the ball to when those receivers are covered. This is a team that can throw the ball to the tight end. Jolie has a knack for getting open. He has a knack for scoring touchdowns. And he kind of makes this receiving core that much better because of the way he catches the ball, because most tight ends, you think of them as the big guys that could go and block. And he's a good blocker too, but he can really catch the ball, stretch the field. And that's good with this offense, with his receiving crew, because his receiving crew it's one of the best parts of this team. There's no question about it.
So you can, if you do something like that with your offense and you've got a tight end who can help you in the possession part of the game, you turn into a little bit of one of those Midwestern type of offenses. And I'm not saying that as an insult. Sometimes people take that as an insult, but Missouri, Wisconsin, these are schools that have succeeded partially because they've had a tight end. Iowa? Oh my goodness. How many tight ends in Iowa? Yeah. Like, I mean, even when they were winning games 7-6, they win it because they control the football, right? Like that's one of the most important things. Okay. We have been talking schedules. With every show that we do, we want to break down that schedule. And this one is maybe the most fun to break down of the ones we've done because it starts with an absolutely crazy rematch. Last year in the Military Bowl, NC State and ECU had a game that was, first of all, wild, and second of all, ended in a big fight, actually like 3 fights. And Gibby, the thing about this year is you knew, because that's number 1 on the schedule, you knew both schools had this scheduled and circled and looking forward to it from the moment that bowl game ended.
And years ago, I'm gonna give you a little history lesson here. 1970, this rivalry started, and for 18 straight years, they began the season playing each other. Didn't know that, did you? No. 18 straight years. And 18 straight years, the game was played. I feel like a Lee Horse up there. 18 straight years, the game was played in Raleigh. And that was always the sticking point with Pirate fans. Well, why can't we move? Why can't we play one in Greenville? It's because, ECU's program was trying to build. And NC State said, well, if you want to build, you're going to have to come here and build. You have to come here. And it ended ironically ended in a brawl in 1987. Really? Just like last year. Ended in a brawl as well. And then they didn't play again. They didn't have it on schedule. But then they brought it back because of a bowl game. The Peach Bowl in 1991 in Atlanta, one of the greatest games these two have ever played. So there's great history between these two teams, great history. And it's going to be fun. And Pirate fans hate NC State fans. NC State fans hate Pirate fans. It is going to be a lot of fun when these guys kick it off.
What more could you ask for week 1?
No, exactly,
honestly.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, ECU is out there. We're looking at practice video right now from ECU. The Pirates have extra energy on the field as we're watching this practice, which is weeks before a game, partially because they know one of the biggest games of their season is number 1 on the schedule. And I understand NC State has things that they want to take care of within the ACC, goals that they have. But that's a big first goal. Yeah. That ain't Elon, is what I'm trying to say. That's absolutely an important game for NC State to start that season, and as you mentioned, for ECU to do the same. So much so that there was no shortage of answers when we asked them about facing ECU week 1.
I wish we could have played them, a month ago. And just because you want to get to that next game when you play poorly, and that's the only way to get the taste out of your mouth is to get back on the field and compete. And we got to do it against a team that returns a lot of good players. I mean, they're going to be a good team.
Since that ECU game, we ended off bad, but we played them again. So, that first game is going to determine like what we really have, So I'm ready to see what our guys got.
Yeah, it was a tough time down there at the bowl game. So, but I think those guys gave it their all, and we're going to continue to do that, and we're ready to go.
That's week 1. Now, the rest of this schedule here, as I dig into this thing here, it does not get that much easier because week 2 is Virginia. And that's a home game, and it's a noon game. So, you get ECU, and then you got to turn right back around and face it's a border battle. I get it's not their biggest rival, but that's the second week of the year.
Well, and Virginia is a team that's trying to get back to where they were. Years ago, Virginia was a fantastic ACC football team. You know this for sure. And they're trying to get back there. It's been a struggle to get back there. The ACC is so much better when Virginia is good. And they just haven't been. So that's a game that there'll be pressure on NC State to win that game. And for sure. And if they can, then they could set their season off pretty good.
Yeah, I think there's also a couple of key kind of coin flip games that they've got in their schedule, right? We talk about maybe NC State getting back to that 9-game win season, and you look at those key coin flip games. I believe Virginia Tech. They got some Georgia Tech, FSU possibly, and then UNC. So that's another big matchup that I think these things can really be those key coin flips for NC State to maybe, get on the winning side.
Wait, so you're telling me UNC's a big game on that schedule?
Very big. Very big.
The last game of the regular season is going to be against Belichick's Heels?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, they get them late in the season, right? So you don't know what their team's gonna look like. You don't know what they're gonna look like week 1. You don't know what Belichick's UNC team's gonna look like the last week of the season. But definitely not a great time to get them late in the season when maybe they've had a little bit more time to gel and figure some things out.
And the fun thing is, last year when Belichick was hired, it came quick, and we asked CJ Bailey about it. He gave a great soundbite. We say that sound, we're going to kill them. He said something like that effect. So we will break that soundbite out when that game comes later on in the season for sure.
And then you add at Notre Dame in the middle of all it. Like, wow, the pressure is ratcheted a little bit, but the schedule does not come down when the pressure comes up.
No, that's a good game for NC State. A chance for them to be on the big stage, even though I think the game's being televised on Peacock, unfortunately. But that's Boo Corrigan talked about that today. It's a chance for NC State to make a statement at Notre Dame. It's not going to be easy. So, but they have nothing to lose in that game. They really don't. NC State doesn't.
Going to be fascinating to see how this one plays out for NC State. We know this much about this team, about the fan base, that sort of thing. There are rabid supporters, and there have been rabid supporters. Gibby, this team and its base is tremendous. Nationally, a lot of folks will know about other teams that are close, North Carolina and Duke. But you cannot deny that fan base at NC State.
In the triangle, the fan base, the NC State fan base is easily the best. They're rabid fans. They're great fans. They fill that stadium every year. We talked about it the other day, the fact that they've sold out tickets again. They always sell out like 30,000 tickets. And then, of course, they fill in with the other 35,000 or so. But NC State fans are the best, which can be a curse too, because, with social media the way it is right now, they get really fired up about their football team, and rightfully so. But it's an amazing fan base. That stadium will be full every single Saturday the game is played at Carter Finley Stadium, and it's been like that for years and years.
Good or bad to have a fan base like that? Good, I guess, because of the noise, but bad if it goes bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting, right? It's college football. That's what you want. And I know I can't wait to see it, the atmosphere there. And I know, Kevin, you're probably thinking the same thing. And it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, for those who don't know, you're watching wherever you're watching. 2 of the 3 of us have never seen or never covered an NC State football game in person. Sarah and I are new to the mix. Gibby's seen a few of these.
Yeah.
And that's why I say when you tell me that those fans are going to be loud, that's what I'm hearing,
And the student section too. The student section is great, and the fans, the older fans, sparse throughout the stadium. They really get into the game, and you see the same faces in the same seats every year too. You look up there because we're on the sidelines. You look up there. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. Same seat every year because they come back. They renew those tickets, and they love their football, and they're going to buy those seats every year.
Fans are a factor, but don't take our word for it.
Honestly, I would say that's really the reason I committed here. When I got here, I was like, I didn't know where I should go out of the portal coming out of UConn, but the people here, it looks like the people I could look at to my left is like, that's my family right there. And, everyone who wears red, represents the Wolf Pack. It's not just one person, it's a pack for a reason. So I would say that was definitely a big moment for me in my culture.
I want to give a message that, like, we all have a chip on our shoulder. We want to win. Like, we all feel like we're doubting. Like, we want to win more games for you guys, Wolf Pack fans.
So I have tried to avoid number prediction because I really have. And part of the reason is we live in the day and age where all it has to happen is for one of us to say the wrong thing, and it ends up, being viral if they go like way over or way under.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'll jump into it. What do you think, Sarah? If you got an over/under win total for this team?
7.5 maybe.
Yeah.
I think I'm right there. It's I think again, you're gonna have to see how this plays out. But for me, it's the biggest question mark's the defense and whether DJ Elliott's gonna be able to really pick things up from last year and the way that they ended. So I think I'm going there.
That's pretty good right there. I think that the Pack has a chance to win 6 6 straight games to start the season, and then the back half of their schedule gets a lot tougher. 2002 is the last time this team has won double-digit games. It's been that long.
Wow.
And the State fans thought last year was going to be the year. And it is just, for this group, it's just so hard to get there. So I think 8's about as good as they'll do this year. And I think I think that's their ceiling, unfortunately.
You notice how Sarah went 7.5?
Yeah.
Meaning you're doing it as a Vegas fan.
Yeah.
That's the era that we're in right now. That's the Vegas era right there. I'm with it. If 7.5 is the bar to set, I'll go over, but I don't confidently jump to over, just because there are some factors that could play. Part of the issue that comes in is there are some factors in the ACC that we don't necessarily know. Because if Bill Belichick's system turns out to be just an absolute juggernaut and a couple of other teams tend to step up, the Wolfpack could literally be the talent of an 8-win team and come out with 6 wins. That's not the first time that's happened to them in recent years. So that's something that could happen again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Sarah and Gibby, thank you both very much. We appreciate it. This all begins for NC State, August 28th. That's when ECU pays a visit to Raleigh, and that is going to be a wild affair. We appreciate you joining us for College Kickoff, the NC State Wolfpack.